All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our media availabilities today at Martinsville Speedway. We are now joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Sun Energy 1 Chevrolet, fresh off his win last week at Kansas Speedway, advancing him into the playoffs to round of 8. We'll now open the floor to questions for Chase. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a wireless microphone to you. Start right here, go over there, then to Bob.
Chase, what happened to you last fall here late, notwithstanding? There's been a lot of talk that the races at Martinsville lately have been a little bit more tame. I think one theory that I have that I'm curious to get your feedback on is with the stage racing now, it pretty much puts everyone on the same tire strategy more often than not, so you don't have the comers and goers. Is that something that you think has been a byproduct too?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, typically those late, like I remember, the year Jimmy and Jeff and Clint wrecked, they were all on different tire strategies, but that was all product of right there at the end of the race too. So, I mean, to me that, the last stage is long enough to where I think there's still enough time to be different than the other guys. I think those, especially the ones that are going to cause the wrecks, are going to be in the closing laps, and guys stayed out on 80-lap tires and somebody pit behind them. There's more than 80 laps in that last stage, so I think there's enough time still yet to be different on tire strategies. But I think it's just a product of short track racing for one, and being close to other guys, and being slow enough in the corners to where you're close to them as well. So I think it's a little bit of everything.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcast, and WAKG. Chase, as we have seen some of the talk of wild cards in the playoffs, it seems like there's been a wild card so far in each stage of the race. We talked about Roval, Talladega, now Martinsville's even been considered a wild card. Just your thoughts on that, and then, too, what the wins have meant for Hendrick Motorsports just beyond your team.
Yeah, I think every week can be a wild card week. I mean, really, there's enough stuff, enough stuff and different things that can happen. I just feel like that, if you're anywhere close to the front, I mean, you could end up with a shot, and it's just so easy to make a mistake and whatnot that, it's if you're around, inside the top 5, you probably have a chance, whether it's on strategy or a mistake by somebody or whatever. So yeah, I mean, as far as the wins go, I mean, I feel like it's been to me, I think it's been great for the company and just to get some momentum back. I mean, there's been a lot of hard work throughout the year to try to get better and to try to put ourselves in better positions as a whole and as a company. And I think for the men and women around campus, I rang the victory bell tradition there at HMS this week, and there's a lot of fire right now there. And if you can create fire and create some momentum and push from everyone around the campus, I think that's a big deal. I think it matters. And if every person that works there has a hand in what goes on, whether you want to believe that or not is true, and if everybody that's coming to work that is ultimately building the car that's sitting here in the garage has some fire and some purpose, then I think our performance will be better.
Have you guided William throughout this process as well? You weren't too long ago where he was.
What's that now?
Are you guiding William through this process? Because he's about where you were a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, William and Alex both, I've said this before, but neither one of them need my help. I mean, they're really good at what they do, and William's a champion, and there's nothing I'm going to tell him that he doesn't already know. So, he's got his head screwed on right, in my opinion, and I think that he'll be just fine. He's a talented racer, and he'll be in good shape.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Chase, you made your Cup debut here 2015 as part of 5 races that year. Why was that race chosen? Why here for your Cup debut, and what do you remember about that day?
Yeah, it's been trying to forget about that day, actually. But Actually, Alan had a lot to do in choosing those races, and I think just because he tried to pick some really tough races, or what races he thought I was going to struggle at, and he guessed pretty good, because they were terrible, to be completely honest. So yeah, I'm glad we did that, when we did it, and I didn't have a whole lot of fun at the time, but yeah, I was glad he chose the races that he did. I think Alan, and I'm not sure who else kind of had a hand in that, but I know he did. And I just kind of got told, hey, these are the races that we're thinking about, and I'm not going to tell you no. So sounds good, and off we went.
And real quick, have you learned something each time you've come back here? Have you picked up a little bit each time back?
Yeah, I felt like we made some really big gains last year. Learned a lot. I felt like we had a test here. When do we have a test? I guess it was like the summer of 17, and had a chance to run, and Jeff came over here with us and was able to talk to him and actually, be able to have enough time to digest and go through some different things that I felt like, he felt like I was doing wrong, and I felt like that helped. I had a great performance as far as how our car drove last fall, and then came back this spring and sucked. So I don't know. Definitely have some work to do, I think, still yet, but it's so hit or miss, and this racetrack is such a rhythm track. Like, you can go an entire weekend and never find your rhythm here, or I have. Really hard for me to, for whatever reason, and I think that's really key. So I think just getting in practice, finding that rhythm can dictate how you make your car want to drive, or how you guide your team into making changes. And if you don't find that rhythm early enough, you won't guide them in the right direction. So I think that's key.
Go next to Greg.
Good morning, Chase. Greg Engel, Autoweek. Two quick questions. What's it like to come to a track as a winner? And have you been back to the pool hall anytime soon?
I have not been to the pool room recently. I drive by it all the time, but I haven't been in there. So it's a great week when you roll past on Monday and you see the sign, and whatnot. But yeah, just appreciate that support. That's a really cool tradition, and glad that they're carrying that on with me. But and glad that we're putting the bell or the siren to use here lately. That's been good too. So yeah, what was your second question?
Coming to the track the next week as a winner.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely better to come to the track as a winner than not. So yeah, I'm not complaining.
Go to Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Have you noticed any kind of extra effort or emphasis on your specific team now that you're the only Hendrick car left?
I mean, to be honest with you, no. I feel like that. I mean, certainly, I don't really see that, I guess, day to day. So no, I haven't really noticed it. I mean, honestly, I really don't think our process or our preparation or how things work in the shop has really changed. So no. And I think if you change that now, you'd be kind of disrupting our normal flow. So, be honest with you, I think the way Alan does things and the way he has his process set up throughout the week, from car builds to, when the engine's put in the car to when the setup's done. I mean, I think that process is trustworthy, and I trust in that. Obviously, our team does, and everybody that is involved in the 9 team does. So, I just don't think there's any need in changing that anyway. So, I think things for us will stay pretty status quo, and we'll just see where it plays out.
Any additional questions for Chase?
Bob, what you got?
I got Blaney outed you on the podcast saying you left Metallica early.
I did.
Why?
I did.
What
yeah.
were you? Are you just was it past your bedtime or
It
what?
was past my bedtime. I was. It was great and all, but yeah, my thing is awesome. I'm glad I went. Obviously, legendary, but yeah, I couldn't hear a lot of the words they were saying, so I felt like it was time for me to go.
Any other questions? All right, Chase, thanks so much.
All
Good luck
right,
this
thank
weekend.
you.